Hey, deserving listeners, a lot of you have been asking me to react to this apology by Ethan Klein from the H3 podcast, in which he apologizes, I believe, for something related to deepfake pornography. So let's get into it. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor, and throughout my career, I have been concerned with apologies, not only between people in my office, if I'm seeing a couple or a family, but also between me and the client. I recently did a whole deep dive on apologies, and I have been reviewing a lot of public apologies to give them a grade. So let's watch. But let's start with a background, because I think there's some background that we might be able to know where this is coming from.
Starting with the news that every single day we're seeing AI deepfake porn becoming a bigger and bigger problem, right?
Philip DeFranco on YouTube, I watch him almost every day, by the way, for news. He is talking about deepfake porn, which, if you don't know what deepfake is, it is technology that allows individuals to put someone else's face on someone else's body. So, for example, you could take this footage, please don't do this, and you could deepfake Philip DeFranco on top of me. This technology is getting better and better all the time, and if you project into the future, maybe the future is now, it's a very scary world where all content on the internet could be faked. You could have a speech by Joe Biden or Putin, and it could be deepfaked, and you wouldn't know unless you had some other way of determining if it was deepfaked or not. So along these lines, apparently, which I didn't know until this story came out, that there are websites out there where they will take famous people, often women, and they will deepfake them into pornography. And for the record, of course, and I don't see why I need to say this, but I think I do, this is a crime. To take someone else's face and put them on someone else's body to make it look as though they made a pornography or anything, to knowingly deceive others into believing that this content involves another person's body and face, to make it look as though these individuals were doing something that they did not, that is immoral. It's a major problem. It should be illegal. I don't know if it is. That's what this story has to do with.
There's this new disgusting, disturbing controversy involving a creator by the name of Atrioc, as well as a whole slew of very high-profile female streamers. Also, don't worry, to fully understand the story, you do not need to know who these people are, and I'll give you the needed background. Right, so this whole situation starts from a small clip from a recent stream that Atrioc did.
What time is it where I am? What time is it PST?
Now for you, that may have seemed like a super random clip, though others may have noticed we intentionally blacked out part of the screen. And that's because in this moment where you're seeing all these random tabs open up, a number of users paused that moment and found that he had actually opened up a site that hosts deepfake porn of famous streamers.
Okay, so we're learning that this individual, a YouTuber or streamer named Atrioc, was on live stream, and he used his keyboard to quickly toggle between different screens that he had open on his computer, and it went out to the entire internet. And so I'm guessing what happened is people recorded that, they took a screenshot, and they looked at all the different screens that he had open, and they saw one in which he was looking at this deepfake pornography. And for the record, it's sad that I need to state this, that not only is it immoral and wrong and violating and traumatizing and victimizing to make this kind of content, but it's also victimizing and wrong and immoral to consume this kind of content because you're participating in that process. You're not an innocent person because you're just like, well, I mean, I'm just looking at it. Was the same when it came to leaked photos. Jennifer Lawrence, other people had hackers hack into their phone, take pictures of them, taking pictures of themselves naked or something, and posted that on the internet. And then people were looking at those photographs saying, well, look, it's not my fault. Someone else stole it. Yes, it is. It's your fault to look at it. 100%. Everyone understands that. Knock it off.
Now for you, that may have seemed like a super random clip, though others may have noticed we intentionally blacked out part of the screen. And that's because in this moment where you're seeing all these random tabs open up, a number of users paused that moment and found that he had actually opened up a site that hosts deepfake porn of famous streamers, some of which Atrioc actually knows personally, or at least is colleagues with in the community. Or some new deepfakes of streamers were even seen in his browser, but also the site hosts plenty more vile crap with other content creators as well. So you had tons of people saying things like, as an Atrioc fan, this is incredibly disappointing. Paying for AI deepfaked porn.
Oh, it wasn't just looking at the porn, he was paying for it. He paid for it. Not only did he just passively look at it, but he paid for it. Why is that making it worse in my mind? It's not worse. Well, I guess it makes it look more volitional, right? And I guess now that I'm thinking about it, of course, by paying for it, you are fueling the machine that makes this content. The individuals who make it are presumably trying to make money doing something that is immoral and wrong. So you're actually giving fuel to this industry, which is incredibly victimizing, harmful, wrong, immoral, needs to be stamped out immediately.
Of your friends and colleagues is fucking gross. Especially after knowing that one of his friends has paid thousands to remove deepfake porn of herself from the internet. He fucked up.
So we're hearing that not only was he paying for AI deepfake porn, but some of these individuals were friends and colleagues of his. Does that make it better or worse or the same? I don't know. To me, that just makes it the same. It's disgusting either way. It doesn't mean that it's worse if you know the person. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's wrong. It's not like murder of someone you know is worse than murder of a random person. Murder is wrong, right? So consuming this material is wrong. Full stop.
Down. So we saw Atrioc giving an apology on stream, saying that he was embarrassed, that he knows that it was wrong, and that he's mad at himself, saying he just did this one time, that it's not part of a pattern of behavior.
Interesting. So we get a bonus apology rating.
I just feel so embarrassing to admit. But I was on Pornhub, dude. I was on a regular ass normal website, and there was an ad. There's an ad on every video for this. So I know other people must be clicking it because it's on every video for deepfake thing, and then
Okay, so he's crying.
Especially women on Twitch to feel safer. Like we call booba spam cringe. We don't do that there. I've never made like a weird, I don't know, seat sniffing joke. I've never done anything like that. I've never done anything like that on the stream.
What? Which streamer? Atrioc.
So I tried to find his apology. Atrioc, I believe is how you pronounce it. Maybe he's on Twitch or something, and maybe I need to go there. But this individual on YouTube is reacting to it. So I'm reacting to a reaction of a reaction. I don't know. This welcome to 2023. This is called the Vosh Pit.
How was this discovered? How was this found out? He had a tab open on stream.
A related issue is that people will fantasize. Is it immoral? Is it wrong to fantasize about someone you know sexually? Either when you're by yourself or when you're with someone else and you're fantasizing about someone else. Is that immoral? Well, best case scenario, you ask that person, like your partner, and you say, can I fantasize about you while I'm alone? And your partner's like, yeah, absolutely, fantasize away. Is it okay if I fantasize about you doing these kinds of things? Well, you can fantasize about these scenarios, but not these. Okay, so best case scenario, consent, discussion, that kind of thing. But is it immoral to, say, fantasize about a friend or a coworker or a famous person for that matter? There's a lot of debate around that. And long story short, my position is that it's better to be safe than sorry. There's a chance that this individual would be okay with you fantasizing about them. They might even like the fact that you're fantasizing about them. But there's also a chance that they would feel extremely victimized, and that would be very hurtful to them. That would be harmful to them, traumatizing to them even, to think that you would be fantasizing about them in that way. So, unless you know the answer to the question, are they okay with it, then you shouldn't do it. Because you don't have to do it. There's a lot of other things one can think about. Have a repertoire in your mind. Just make up a random, anonymous human being. It's fine, right? Now, what people will say is, they'll never know what I'm thinking about, so it doesn't matter. It does matter, because at the very least, you might end up treating that person differently if you knew them, a colleague, a friend. It might come out in your interactions with that individual. The other thing is it might just get revealed. You might have one too many drinks and tell someone, and it gets around. It can harm that individual, right? Also, I just think it's wrong. It's a debate, and of course, we can all have a conversation about that, but I do consider that to be wrong. My dogs are barking. I don't know if you can hear that. They also believe that it's wrong. The other thing that I want to parallel this with, this issue of deepfake porn, is that 10 years ago, and I've done some videos about this in the past, where you had revenge porn, where people would take pictures of their partners, then there's a breakup, the individual still has pictures of their former partner on their computer or phone, and then they would upload them to these revenge porn internet sites, and the entire world would be able to see that. And at the time, from what I understand, that wasn't illegal. It was made illegal after that point because there were no laws about that because it wasn't a thing until the internet came along and became what it was at that point. So this is similar, I'm guessing, that there are no laws about deep fake pornography because it's a new thing. And so our legislatures and our laws and our courts need to catch up.
And like I've done this consistently over and over and over. And then 2 a.m., you know, I've been watching so much, I've been reading so much AI stuff. I'm reading all this stuff about AI and deepfake music, deepfake art and everything. And I'm in these discords and I just feel so embarrassing to admit, but I was on Pornhub, dude. I was on a regular ass normal fucking website.
So he's saying that he's been really into AI. Okay. Okay, you're into AI. A lot of people are into AI. I'm sort of into AI. My co-host Umberto is super into AI. It's like saying, I'm really into driving my car. I just love driving my car. And you know, it just one thing led to another and I was running over pedestrians. That's not a thing.
There's an ad on every video for this. So I know other people must be clicking it because it's on every video.
Okay, so we saw this argument that he's making, this excuse or explanation. So that's a big distinction that we need to determine here is he providing an explanation while remaining sorrowful and while recognizing the full weight of the transgression that he committed, or is he making excuses? Is he saying, look, it's not my fault. I didn't, you know, why am I being attacked? So it's hard to know. Maybe he'll reveal that, give us some information around that. But what he's saying is that he was online looking at porn and there were many, many ads. He's saying many people must click on it, otherwise they wouldn't have these ads. Okay. That doesn't excuse it. I hope that he's just saying, I was wrong, but here's how the internet made it so easy for me to do such a wrong, horrible thing. But I'm going to take a guess and say that the vast majority of individuals would not click on it. Am I just naive? Maybe as I say that out loud, I can just imagine y'all just laughing at my face. But I just don't think this is, I guess we don't know. I live in a world of science and of data and evidence, and so I'm making some guesses that this sort of behavior and this interest is aberrant and anomalous, but maybe it's a huge thing on the internet. What do I know? But either way, even if everyone else was doing it, that does not make it right. Anyone would understand that that's wrong. It's wrong.
It's just, it's gross. It's gross, and I'm sorry. I really am. It's not. I don't know. It's so embarrassing.
Okay, so I've been watching a little bit more of it. Maybe I should just go to Twitch and watch the whole thing. I don't know. I'm trying to get to the Ethan. The whole thing was because y'all were asking me to watch the Ethan Klein apology. So we're watching this one in the build up to that. But he's saying that Atrioc is saying that he's really sorry and he's really embarrassed. So many of these public apologies lack the oomph to make me. Now, he doesn't apologize to me. He needs to apologize to the women that he wronged. He seems sorrowful. Now, a lot of people will be sorry and they'll be sad because they were caught, because of the embarrassment that he mentions, not because they actually feel sorrow about what they did to someone else. That's the key. Apologies are sorrow for a transgression on another person, not sorrow because you got caught. So these individuals often will exhibit sorrow, and I don't know, are they sorry for themselves or are they sorry for the other person? And that oomph that I'm often looking for is something like, I can't imagine how she felt when she found this out. I can't imagine. But if I was to take a guess, it felt like this. It felt like that. It felt like this. And it's all my fault. It's 100% my fault that I caused these women to feel this. And not only these women, but all women across the planet. I participated in a long string of historical wrongs against women along these lines. Objectification, using them in whatever way we want to, the male gaze, all that kind of stuff. Like, I feel horrible about what I did to that other person. I did something horrible. It's like I just spat in their face and pushed them down some stairs. That was my fault. No one else is to blame. And I feel terrible. I can tell you what led me to that. I didn't think I would harm someone else because I never thought it would get out. But in the end, I feel terrible about what I did to someone else. These public apologies almost never contain that sentiment. So I'm left wondering, are they actually sorry for what they did, or are they sorry for themselves?
So embarrassing. But I just really want to get across. It's not like a pattern of behavior, and I don't know what I want to say.
So right away, maybe I need to watch the full Twitch thing. I'm really going down a rabbit hole. I thought I'd just watch the Ethan thing. He says, I want everyone to know this is not a pattern of behavior. That lends itself to the conceptualization that this is not actually an apology, that he's trying to retain his stream of money. I don't know if he makes any money. I'm guessing he does. But if he were to be perceived as a horrible human being who did a horrible thing, then he could be canceled. He could lose a lot of his fans, and he could be deplatformed, and he could lose all of his income. And I don't know, but there are some individuals where it's not only his income, but it's his wife's income, or other people, who knows. Now, of course, he should be concerned about that because it's his job, I think, and he should be thinking about that. How can I respond in a way that retains my business? There's nothing wrong with that. But when I hear these kinds of apologies, if I only hear messages that are along those lines, it starts to lend itself to a conceptualization that they're not actually sorry, that they're just trying to come across like they're sorry, or they feel sorry for themselves. For those of you who have kids or hang out with kids, you've seen this before, where a child is caught red-handed doing something wrong, and they will just start crying, right? They have their hand in the cookie jar, and you come around the corner, and you're like, hey, get your hand out of the cookie jar. I don't know why I used that scenario. It's from my childhood. It was like the classic bad thing that you would do as a kid. Do people even have cookie jars anymore? I'm guessing they don't. And so anyway, roll with it. You come around the corner, kid has hand in the cookie jar, and you're like, hey, your hand's in the cookie jar. And the kid says, and starts to cry, right? Now, it's possible that the kid feels bad because of what they did, the transgression that they committed, the wrong that they committed. But in all likelihood, because of their emotional development, their moral development, they're more crying because they're sad for themselves. They're like, oh no, I'm in trouble. Now, they might even be crying as a way of trying to garner sympathy. But if we just go with the assumption that the kid is being honest, meaning that they have legitimate feelings of sadness and sorrow, a lot of kids, the sorrow ends with them. They just care about themselves. Now, it's normal for kids not to be aware of that. It takes some time. But when you're an adult, then you should know better. So you can see that behavior in adults. And so the deception can be, wow, he's really crying. He's really saying he's sorry. He seems legitimately like he's suffering. Okay, but which one is it? Sorry for the self, sorry for the other. Now, he could have sorry for the other and sorry for the self. But he could also just have sorry for the self.
It's disgusting. It really is disgusting. It's disgusting. It's wrong. Sorry, I didn't sleep all night. So I'm just.
Okay, so he said it's wrong. I wish he would elaborate on what is wrong, but that's heading in the direction of actual recognition of the transgression. And then he just says that he didn't sleep at all last night. I tend to believe him. I don't know, obviously, but the way his emotions are coming out during this apology, it stands to reason that he has been suffering. Now, was he not sleeping well last night because he's worried about his business only? He should be worried about his business. But is he also worried about the transgression, about the harm that he caused another human being? Let's see if we hear anything along those lines.
I already feel I'm deeply embarrassed about this. I'm embarrassed. I'm angry at myself. I just feel so stupid.
So one of the things that I'm looking for when I'm grading apologies is the individual exhibiting that they feel the weight of the situation. If someone were to commit a major transgression like this and deliver an apology without much emotion or evidence that they're suffering at all, like they're just, okay, well, I got to apologize. They apologize and they go on with their day. Even if they apologize pretty well, that would be concerning because it doesn't show that they're really empathizing, they're really absorbing what is happening and what they did and the effect they had on other people. So he seems to legitimately be suffering, which lends itself towards at least a more effective apology. Now, as I've been saying, he's not apologizing to me, because I'm not one of his fans. I didn't even know who he was until now. So he's apologizing to his fans, but also he's apologizing to the women, I presume. Before
I go into the apology, because I think it feels weird if you use a but later, I just want to say a couple facts early. I want to get them out of the way, because it's only because I was torturing myself reading LSF comments that made me feel sick to my stomach, and they're way too far. They took it way too far. So I don't know if I should include this or not, but I have the receipt thing right here. It's from the exact same day that clip is from. All right, there's no pattern of behavior. It's not months and months.
Okay, so this is not a great way to start an apology like this in my book. He's starting with details that are designed to try to get people to not hate him. So that if I were one of his fans, or if I were one of the women that he transgressed upon, this would bother me. I'd be like, how about you get to the apology and then you could, give some details later. But one of the details that he's giving right now is that he has a receipt for the day that it was revealed that he had consumed or had looked at these deepfake pornography depictions. I think what he's saying is, I just did it that day. It was the one time I ever did it, and here's a receipt to demonstrate it. That doesn't demonstrate anything. He could have been participating in this industry for a long time, and he just happened to have purchased it that day, which is why it was open on his computer. So this is worrisome, because it looks like he's really focused on only trying to preserve his business. There's nothing wrong with him trying to do that, but if he's truly sorry, then he will emphasize that instead of the self-preservation details.
Months. It was this one video on the same day, and I just stupidly left the fucking tab open, and it was at 2 a.m. on the night before when Ari was out of town. So, and again, there's no excuse for it. I'm not defending anyway. I think this whole fucking category of stuff is wrong, 100%. But I want people to know that.
Yeah, unless he gives more details, it just doesn't ring very sincere to me, because if you believe it's wrong, then why did you do it? Yeah, so this is why explanations are important, because if he says, look, I was deluding myself into thinking it wasn't that big of a deal because in this corner of the internet, they seem to normalize it. At first, I was thinking, is that really okay? But then I sort of allowed myself to be convinced by this corner of the internet. I'm not excusing it, but I'm just telling you that at the time when I purchased it, it just didn't even register to me that it was wrong. I know now that it was wrong, and of course it's wrong, but at the time I just thought, I'm not hurting anyone because it's not the real person and they'll never find out. Or I don't even know if that would really be convincing, but it would be some explanation as to why you did something that was so wrong. But just to say it's wrong, I just want to tell it's wrong. Okay, did you just figure that out? Or did you knowingly do something that you knew was wrong and harmful to other people? So that's why I'm always looking for those kinds of details, which it's possible that he doesn't even know. I mean, I don't know how old he is. I don't know how self-aware he is. I don't know how much therapy he's been through, but it's normal for people to have a fairly low level of self-awareness. The path of self-discovery that would be necessary to fully apologize, in my view, might be long, and he might be just beginning. So hopefully he'll go down that road.
Because the thing I think that hurt me the most is I've done a lot on the stream to create a pattern of behavior where I really want, especially women on Twitch, to feel safer. We call booba spam cringe. We don't do that there. I've never made
Again, self-preservation, it's fine, but he should apologize first, do the self-preservation later.
Weird, I don't know, seat sniffing joke. I've never done anything like that. I've never done anything like that on the stream. And we don't tolerate any sex behavior in the chat. We ban it on site. And I've done this consistently over and over and over.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point to make after you apologize. But yeah, he has a track record of someone who was on the right side of this issue of misogyny in the gaming community, or misogyny in general, right? Mistreatment of women in general in our society and online and in the gaming community. So he's saying that he has been fighting the good fight for a long time. Okay, good. You can point that out. It doesn't nullify the transgression, but it's fine to point out, particularly if you're trying to preserve your business. But even in more mundane, regular apologies, say you commit a transgression upon your partner, even if it's fairly mild, like you forget to pick them up from the airport. I mean, that'd be a pretty big deal, but something along those lines. They're upset at you, obviously, naturally, understandably, and you say, "Oh my God, I just got wrapped up at work, and yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm really good about picking you up." You can bring that up. You can say, "Hey, every time you want me to pick, I've never missed a time. You've asked me to pick you up hundreds of times. I've always been early, and it doesn't negate what I did that was wrong, but I just want to point out that I'm usually pretty good about." You can point that out, and that's what he's doing, which is fine. But again, apologize first. All right, well, let's end it there. I didn't realize I'd be talking so much about this, so let's do a part 2. Let's end part 1 here, and tune in next time when I continue following this story and reacting to it, and I'll give my grades for the various apologies. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.